And we're back with part 2 of Designing For's Super Punch-Out series. Now, I have seen a few comments asking me why I didn't start with the older videos first. To be honest with you guys, I didn't even know of their existence, not gonna lie. I was just simply sent these videos directly from Pier. So I may, in the future, once I finish this series, go back to check out what the older games were like as well in that previous video. And of course, as per usual, before we begin, please go and support Designing For. Link to that is at the very top of the description, as always.
Super Punch-Out's minor circuit could be thought of as something akin to an extended tutorial. If you're just...
Well, yeah, it was such a great tutorial with how they pace things out. And I mean, at the very least, it's not a JRPG tutorial that lasts you 10, 20 hours. But at least from the JRPGs that I have played, I wouldn't necessarily say that because they're a lot longer, they're paced out worse than something like this. I definitely think it's more of a, you need to put the right thing in the right game.
Looking for wins, at least. You've got lives per circuit rather than per run, with easily attainable extra continues. The first 3 fights are all designed around teaching specific mechanics, and your title shot is against an old rival who still does have one mean trick with a few twists, but has seen better days. While styling and profiling on your opponent is the name of the game, just dodging some punches and counterpunching will get you decently far. But the Major League, this is where we start to step up our game. The next 4 opponents in Max Path are all about throwing him off his rhythm, introducing new tells and concepts, and punishing you hard for failing to keep pace with their boxing. Your first championship was a primer on how to box. Your second will make sure you're good at it. What you doing standing around? Get back in that ring and show them what you're made of.
All right.
Fight!
Bob Charlie?
Bob Charlie!
Is Bro gonna start dancing in the ring?
Just like Tyson's major circuit, Supers sees you going up against Island Royalty. But rather than a big ol' hippo, you're facing down the Jive King of Kingston, Bob Charlie.
Ooh.
And yeah, he's fighting under an assumed name. He is selling out and making a parody of himself in-universe as much as he is out of it. The main thing to note with Bob is my man can move, dancing about the ring, up, down, and all around as he pleases. This makes Charlie an incredibly random opponent, with no particular guarantees to what pattern he might employ.
Oh, interesting. I have heard it talked about before, of like, you know, ballerina training could actually be quite useful for people who play American football, right? Because ultimately it's all down to the footwork, and anybody who dances probably has their footwork down to a T. From the training that I've done before, when it came to martial arts, there would be like specific training that they would do for that particular martial arts footwork. But I wonder if people who did have a background in dancing just got those things a lot easier, or maybe had their own unique style whenever they mastered a martial art. Another character that this guy made me think of, even though I haven't played the game before, I don't recall which game that particular boss was in. Was it Dark Souls 3 or 2? I believe there's a character called, or a boss called the Dancer of the Boreal Valley. I recall watching a video on how that particular boss would move to the rhythm, but because of that, it became quite unpredictable sometimes, and you really had to learn its dance before you could actually defeat it. I had drawn a comparison to a lot of Souls-like games in the previous video, and I suppose it will continue. It's just really the basis of good action combat in video games.
Moreover, the more he dances, the worse things end up for you. You've got a 3-minute time limit after all, and if this man's dancing his fool heart away, you're waiting in vain for this guy to give you a fair shot.
Bruh.
He's even more ready to mix you up after being knocked down once, being encouraged to shuck and jive by his corner man, throwing in feints or rapidly bending down low before a series of quick hooks. Everything Bob's about is made to toss you off your game. So don't give him a shot. Whilst Charlie has some pretty decent defensive options as a timer scammer, his offense leaves a lot to be desired.
being a timer scammer in a way almost feels like playing lazy in a fighting game, where essentially you chip down your opponent's health until it's lower than yours, and then from then on, you just defend. You just run away, right? Because at the end of the round, if you have more HP than your opponent, then technically speaking, you're the winner of that round. Not really the most exciting thing to watch, but I'm pretty sure that there's quite a few FGC players who got famous from doing that and were able to get some victories off of that. Heck, I don't really play Super Smash Bros, but I know Kirby is kind of notorious for being that character people would pick in order to do this strategy.
Most of his punches are very slow and telegraphed, easy to interrupt with some good body shots or dodge and take advantage of. His fastest technique is his double hook out of a rapid duck, which can be countered by doing absolutely nothing.
Wow.
Literally just stand there and punch him in the face when he's done.
What?
Bob's strongest move, this flailing spin punch, is a far cry from the bull charge you just overcame. Both not all that bad to get hit by and very simple to dodge and punish. The most threatening thing Bob can do is actively not fight you, but he's really quite bad at doing anything when you bring the fight to him, especially taking away your momentum. Remember, you have multiple different options for super punches in this game. A double tap of your super releasing a rapid flurry of blows that you can direct to either the face or gut if a haymaker ain't your style. Bob is easily stunned in place after dodging his punch and counterpunching. Experiment a little. See how fast you can take him down once your power meter is at max. And he'll prove to be no more trouble for you than Gabby J was.
Damn.
Enjoy your combo exhibition. Your next fighter won't be nearly as easygoing.
Hey, it somewhat makes sense, right? Like, he's the type who wants to be quick on his feet, but he doesn't really have a whole lot of mass or, I guess, tankiness behind him. Similar to, like, a rushdown character in a fighting game where they might not have the most health in the game, but it's really their movement that sets them apart from the rest of the cast. Good tools to get in, but if they get mixed up, well, I guess they're just gonna have to taste their own medicine. Dragon-chan? Huh?
Dragon-chan!
Among the various additions to the rules of the Nintendo Video Boxing Association in its Super Update is this little tidbit. There are no illegal moves or punches. This is...
Oh my god, bro. We're playing like a regular boxing game, and then this guy's gonna come in with some sort of anime air dash fighting bullshit.
something that Dragon-chan takes to heart, as he's very glad to introduce you to his philosophy that kicking is simply punching someone with your feet. A trained kickboxer, though this is probably the worst Sanda stance I've ever seen, Chan is glad to use a flurry of offensive maneuvers and motions to throw you off. Unlike your previous opponents, his guard is tight. His fists are ready to counter so you don't just stun lock him, and his signature move can't be simply countered or discounted. Chan is glad to take to the ropes, diving from side to side before smacking Mac across the face with a flying kick to the jaw, guaranteeing a knockdown. But that isn't his only trump card, as with the encouragement of his cornerman, the dragon can unleash a series of triple kicks to decimate your health, or even gather his energy and transcend to the next play of existence, healing himself. Compared to—
Oh my god. Oh jeez. We're still currently playing Blaze with Central Fiction here on the channel, and it's kind of like fighting Ragnar or Selka. I guess Selka can heal herself, but Ragnar has the lifesteal. It can be pretty annoying sometimes. It's not really like the biggest thing to care about, but yeah, it's just that little thing that irks you. Plus, I suppose here you want to knock them out as quickly as possible, so that just makes it even worse. So what's the play here? Does he have some sort of weakness that you can exploit when he's like air dashing from rope to rope? Or is it simply just dodge at the right time and smack him in the face?
everyone else before, Chan's got the power, he's got the skill, he's got a guard not nearly as easy to brute force through, and he's got secret regeneration magic. brute strength won't nearly be enough. You've got to be mentally fortified to slay this dragon. Unfortunately, you do have wit to spare. While Dragon Chan does have the most varied arsenal of unique moves we've seen thus far, he is utterly devoted to his form and technique. None of his attacks come out from a pure standing position, always requiring some movement before he strikes. Focusing on the man's feet in a totally normal way will allow you to
Thank you for clarifying, Pierre.
pretty much read all of his movements. Chan's triple kicks are much the same. Simply dodge opposite of him as he weaves to and fro, solving his kicks as swiftly as his punches.
And there you go.
And while the high jump kick is a formidable tool that does need to be respected, it lacks the variance of Bull's charge. Always being able to be ducked the moment he lets out a war cry. The only thing that...
I see. Sound cue. I don't remember where I learned this from, but I had learned that sound is the thing that people can react to the quickest, like even quicker than a visual cue, which is why sound design can be incredibly important in games like this, or really any game where some sort of pattern recognition is required. Keeping your eyes on your opponent's footwork is also incredibly important, whether that be martial arts or even sports like basketball, where you can tell a lot of where somebody's going to go either by like the direction that their eyes are looking at, the way their feet are pointed, or how their body's center of gravity is shifting. Of course, really, really good basketball players can use this to their advantage to make you think that they're going to go one way, but they do intend to go a separate way. That being said, there is still ultimately an anatomical limitation when it comes to how quickly somebody can shift directions. But of course, you'd actually have to have the reaction time in order to react to that, or just the experience of playing against said player and knowing what their gimmicks are. Which I think is another big reason why oftentimes you'd see coaches having like recordings of the opposing team's previous games, so that you could analyze each player's movements and get a feel for how they might play or try to trick you. Because even the tricky people have some sort of pattern or favorite move that they like to do. Very similar to like a pro fighting game player at Evo who maybe does a combo that isn't exactly optimal. And most people would question them and be like, why did you do that exactly? But oftentimes they may just try to mix things up, or know for a fact that their opponent is going to use the most optimal counter to a particular move that they're doing. So then they catch them off guard with a frame trap instead. Just so many things that you can apply this to.
Breaks this rule of just watch his motions carefully is Chan's Dragon Rejuvenation. A lot of flash and flare being made to disguise the fact that this is the one time Chan's centering himself. Yeah. Wait for the illusion to solidify in the middle of the ring and dish out a body blow, and he'll regret ever stopping to catch his breath. Chan's constant motion is here to distract you from the simple fact that he's a relatively straightforward fighter with a bunch of individual moves that don't gel well together. See through his technique, keep your charge up, and show him what a real combo looks like. You've got bigger places to be than playing with a glorified stuntman.
Yikes. Mass muscle.
Going from one form of combat sports to a form of sports entertainment, masked muscle is a walking contradiction. At 245 pounds, he exceeds all but the heaviest weight class in Lucha Libre, and lacks any of the high-flying acrobatics or flashy holds that define the sport. This causes him to rely on his boxing skills, which are decidedly rudimentary. Muscle having well-telegraphed hooks, jabs, and uppercuts that he knows one neat combo with, but that's about it.
I guess this is one of those fights where it's a big body fighter, so they don't really have the combo game. And I mean, it's a boxing match, so I wouldn't expect them to grapple you. But they're probably just tankier. Plus, if they do actually land anything, it's going to hurt a lot more than everybody else.
Lacking any sort of solid mobility or technique to throw you off your game, Muscle can only rely on the one true path that all Ludos must strive for.
That's right, we're gonna cheat.
At the urging of his cornerman, Masked Muscle can unleash the signature lucha.
Spit in his eye? What the? Ref, what are you doing?
Or Purple Mist, a blinding array of pure lucha spirit and also just spit and maybe poison?
Disgusting.
Any Mac hit by this will have their vision obscured in a mosaic hellscape. See Masked Muscle as a spooky translucent ghost. And most importantly, will be completely unable to throw punches. This is combined with Muscle's signature lunging headbutt, a move with an incredibly tight counter window and simultaneously his quickest and strongest option for closing out a fight. This King of the Ring works smarter, not harder. He knows your greatest asset is your ability to snowball with an out-of-control flurry, so he'll tank away your ability to punch. He'll get in what cheap shots he can. He'll use his bulk to really lean into his attacks to let you whiff if you try to counter to the wrong side. And while a 10 count is probably beyond his capabilities, it only takes a few slip-ups for him to take you out 1, 2, 3. But you know, one of the catchphrases of this franchise is, let's keep it clean. Even though this jabroni might play it dirty, it doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah.
And you can keep him from attacking without resorting to cheap tricks. Since Muscle has to be told to bring out the poison mist, you have ample time to hear the calls of his quarterman and see it coming. A dodge to the left being all you need. Muscle throws his whole body into most of his punches, his entire center of gravity shifting, making it very easy to toss in a counterpunch based on his position and stop him from even tossing one out. Except for his headbutt, that one's tricky to counter, but a dodge and punish is easy enough. Interrupt his flow state.
Well, it's a very tight window with a really big reward. There's plenty of moves out there like that in plenty of fighting games, where they're super risky. If you can pull them off, you get a big reward. If you get countered somehow because they were expecting that, then, well, rest in peace. Almost like using one of your supers, but then your opponent just decides to stop attacking you and block in that exact moment because they knew you were going to do that. So that afterwards they just use their super, then you're pretty much screwed.
Repeatedly, and it'll be child's play getting the lesser Kinnikuman here into a dizzy state, knocking him to the floor in what really should count as an extra fall for him before launching him into a turnbuckle.
Ooh.
Don't worry, your fundamentals are leagues better. See through the shortcuts this enhancement talent has to rely on, and prep your fist for the toughest bout this circuit has to offer.
Cheating isn't going to bring you far. Mr. Sandman. Is he going to go just pocket sand at our face? Is that what's going to happen?
Welcome to hell.
Welcome back.
The original champion. The sleep paralysis demon of Tyson's World Circuit. The slumber that turns dream into nightmare. Once again, enter Sandman.
You want some more?
While he's far earlier in the game than you might expect, and not quite as cruel as his previous incarnations, Sandman is a massive step up from the rest of your competition. The Major League champ deals out the fastest hooks you've seen to this point, mixed in with incredibly delayed uppercuts made to psych you out, make you dodge early, and run into the far more devastating punch. His quick jab combo you're supposed to block ends with a fast straight that hits through your guard, more than likely scoring up some free damage until learned. And of course,
so do you have to like count the amount of jabs that he usually does and then dodge to the side afterwards? Because even if he's changing his rhythm every now and then, there's still going to be a pattern.
the signature Dreamland uppercut is back. In not quite
triple
full force,
uppercut?
you only get one of these at a time, but one is usually more than enough to put Mac down for a nap.
Bedtime.
Ooh.
But perhaps worst of all, Sandman knows he's better than you. Punches do pitiful damage to Mr. Sandman, absolutely necessitating supers to take him down in an even remotely timely fashion. And no matter what you do, Sandman will never be KO'd before the third knockdown. You go the distance with him, or you go home empty-handed. Once you've gotten him on the ropes with 2 knockdowns, Sandman will always pull himself up around the 5 count, regenerating a large chunk of health and revealing,
final phase
those
of the
last
boss
2
fight.
rounds? He wasn't awake yet. Now he'll show you the full power.
Yeah.
Boom! 3 uppercut Dreamland Express
There it
right
is.
on time. Sandman is an opponent you are made to lose to on your first go-around. Everyone up to this point, yeah, there could be some nasty trick or one-hit knockdown, but you can pick yourself up, you can figure out how to dodge it. But Sandman will whittle you down, bust your chops along with your guard, and outpace you as a superior physical specimen.
You know, these kind of bosses I actually don't mind. That being said, I do like Shin Megami Tensei a lot, so I might be biased here. And that's kind of every single boss in that game, pretty much. But the whole trial and error of the boss, and the boss being basically impossible to defeat on your first try, just makes victory over that boss so much sweeter and means something to the player. Despite it, you know, like, it's just a video game. It doesn't really matter, but it matters to me, alright? I wonder if there's a study out there that specifically looks into the threshold between, like, how difficult a task is and the amount of accomplishment somebody would feel. I would presume that's quite subjective to the person, so it might not be able to have any sort of conclusive evidence of it, or any actual, like, numerical threshold. But it's just something interesting to think about.
Ready to throw you off, keep your weak jabs and hooks in check, and tuck you into a permanent home as second place to his reign.
Good night.
But even though he's got a full arsenal, hey, you've got some tricks of your own to take him on. Mac has 3 different dodging speeds: a regular dodge from tapping left or right, a long dodge by holding left or right, or an incredibly quick dodge by either holding A during a dodge when your super meter isn't full, or buffering an input during a dodge to snap Mac back to center. Sandman's slow, delayed uppercuts can be compensated for with a long dodge, and his jab combo can be responded to with a quickie after the straight to get in as many shots as possible.
Interesting. I didn't even notice that, to be honest. I thought that the dodge was always at one single pace. But no, if the dodge itself is a pace determined by the player, then yeah, that can create some really interesting mix-up. I honestly thought that we had pretty much figured out the game by the end of part 1. But despite how simple it looks like on the surface, the amount of hidden mechanics here is actually kind of insane.
That's the key to Sandman. Get in as many hits as you can, and make sure you knock him down with a super punch. Smacking an opponent to the mat with a super tends to keep them down for longer, which allows Mac a free chance at healing whilst they're taking a nap by mashing the attack buttons. Additionally, they'll more than likely come back with less health the more deftly and more decisive a strike you knock him down with, leading to another quick shot to replenish and regroup. Getting thrown off by the Dreamland uppercut, Sandman does a noticeable shuffle right beforehand every time.
Look at the
If his
footwork.
body's flailing too much for you, watch his feet for the moment he shifts their position. I know that's a thing now! We're learning! Even if he tosses out 3, a few alternating dodges, or even an average length, can keep you going. Whilst he might deal some good damage, Sandman's sleepy start is yours to take advantage of. Take the learning knocks you need to, build that power meter, and show Sandy just how many steps he's lost since the last time you tangoed, and you'll rob him of his prize. That belt will look better on you anyway.
Nice, dude. That's really cool. I didn't realize that, once again, more new mechanics. if you knock out an opponent with a super, they stay down longer, which is kind of funny because I had recently tried to do the arcade mode for BlazBlue, and apparently to get to like I think they're called Unlimited character, the Unlimited boss, which is basically just a souped up version of one of the characters in the game with OP abilities. You have to end every single arcade battle with a super, almost a similar fashion to this, where it rewards you for pulling that off.
Rats, champ.
Got him.
The Major
Nice.
League expands on the concept shown in the minor, tossing out opponents who still have clear flaws, but compensate for them with motion, aggression, or outright cheating. While you need to be a good boxer, once you reach a certain point, they'll serve as neat combo fodder as you get used to their patterns. But the greater world won't be so kind. Get ready to tighten those gloves and hone those reflexes as we take on the fiercest, most aggressive, most dizzying set of boxers Punch-Out has ever thrown at ya up to this point, as we take on the World Circuit.
Hell yeah.
Let's keep it up, son.
Sandman?
What in the world is that? But honestly, dude, like seeing this video and seeing the little tricks that you could do with the mechanics already provided to you, it's really making me wonder what exactly we're going to introduce in the world circuit. Like, how can we further expand upon the things that we already have, apart from just like making sure that we're really tight with our combos and timing and rhythm? Maybe instead of just at the final punch being like a super, you have to counter with a super. But I don't know, with all of the boxers that we've already fought against, with some even straight up cheating, and there can be a multitude of things that they can introduce here. So I guess on to the next part. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.